And as you know, each one of those major keys has got a partner, which is a relative minor. Are you all familiar with that term, relative minor? So here's a question. What's the relative minor of C major? A minor. All right, so look, we just said we were doing C major. We've now got A minor. So does somebody want to tell me that when Steve plays an A now, and then he plays that, what chord's he playing now? Can you play an A, please, Jared? You can hear it's minor, can't you? Can you? Right. So what? Starting with the C, what is that in A minor? Third. And it's a minor third, isn't it? What's the D? Who said that? Good. It's an 11th. So I'll write a little box here, just so you don't get too confused. This again is one of those little symbols you should know straight away. 2, 9, 4, 11, 6, 13. That's what it's written as a scale. If you want to think of it in the chord, think of it like this. So I just said to Dave, what's that? He said, he worked out it was the 4th, A, B, C, D, but he called it the 11th. Okay, so far, we've got the 3rd and the 11th. What about the E? 5th. G? 7th. And again, it's a good principle because it's not G sharp, you'd have an A major, so it's a minor 7th. So what we've got here, and that's the root, we've got a minor 7, A minor 7, and then in brackets, to be precise, we'd write 11. Yeah? Can you just do a little jam on that chord? All right, just like we did with the majors, let's go back a 5th now to what? Backwards round your cycle of 5th? D. D minor. Now how does this relate to D minor now? Well, it's got the root. What's the E?
9.
9, because that's the second note, the 9. E. G. What's that? D, E, F, G. 4th, which is 11. A. 5th, C, 7th, flat 7. So adheres beautifully to the principle of playing a minor. And it hasn't even got the minor third in, doesn't matter. So this now is a D minor.
It doesn't matter you're not playing minor.
No, not at all. No, that is quite a little crucial point, this. I'm not saying that all of these chords have to have the root and the... I'm saying that there's a really good chance. Yeah. You be over Steve's head on his next gig.
What?
You could be over Steve's head, standing on his head as a little person, and you can see, you could be following the chord sheet, and you'll go, "Why is he doing that? Well, he didn't even have a third in there. Well, he didn't need it. He's working from the same pool of notes that we are, and he can use or not use as many as he wants. So this is going to be a really nice voicing. That's an important term, a voicing for that chord. So we've got the 9, we've got the 11, so we'll call that one D minor 11. Back from that, can we manage to get this C in there? Another 5th back is going to give us G minor. But will this work? Well, it kind of does, but we've got to be careful with it. What's the C against this? The 11th. Okay, so it's some kind of minor 11. What's the D? 5th. Good, that's going to work. What's the G?
1.
And what's the A? 9. Now what about the E?
6,
Yeah, 6. So we've got a little problem here. Can anybody tell me why? Because what we're trying to do is find a universal approach to all the chords.
we're no longer in the relative minor because we now have a major 6
Okay.
rather than a minor 6.
So we're not going to go into too much detail here, but what we need to know is based around our page 1 harmony book. Right out a C scale, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. Put triads on top of it from the scale, C, E, G, D, F, A. Have you all done that, or have you all seen that? Can anybody walk me through what those triads are? Major, minor.
Major. Oh, well done.
Not as a triad, you're right as a, but yeah, okay, major, minor, last one, diminished, okay? So that means we've got 3 minors. Well, what does that mean? We've got 3 minors. How can you have 3 minor chords? Well, that's where you'll need to spend a little time studying. You know, we've gone slightly off our track of making it dead easy. Just do that, throw it down, there you go. To say now we've got to be careful because of this idea of functionality. What we're saying is, in a major key, there's 3 minor chords that can function in different ways. And we write little numbers underneath them in Roman numerals. 2, because that's one of them, 3, and 6. So when somebody says to you, we're playing a song and it's got a minor chord with a 6 function, you know what it is. So minor chord's different because it's got different flavours, even though it's called a minor chord. Now, if we've got an E natural in it, that can't be the relative minor. In the key of B flat, does it have an E natural?
That would be E flat.
It'd be E flat, right. So it won't work against that. But if that was G minor and it was a 2 chord, what key would it belong to then? If G is 2,
F.
1 is F. Now does F major have an E natural?
Yeah.
Right. So what we're saying is, if we've got, when they were playing then, they were playing, the function was irrelevant because they were just playing 1 chord. And if you're playing modal music, it doesn't matter. But when you're playing functional music, if you're playing, I don't know, what is this thing called Love? You know, Cole Porter song, something from the American Songbook. You've got to know what kind of minor chord that is. Because if you suddenly start playing E's against it when it should be an E flat, for example, you'll wonder what's wrong. But you tell me I could play that pentatonic. You've got to be careful with it.